Back, and it's Monday. In case you didn't know, this is Ask a Traffic Cop, that show on the internet that allows you to ask me questions about traffic and police stuff. That's what I do. My name is Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service, and we go live most weekdays starting at 10 o'clock. Sometimes we finish at 11. Sometimes we finish 11:30. We've even been known to go for, well, till 12. Depends on how busy we are, because after all, this is all about you. We are here to answer your questions and make your life better. We want to save you money. You know, we don't want you to get charged for stuff because you did stuff that you didn't know was not legal. It's all about safety and making life better for you. If you're watching it, you're probably on one of these platforms, you know, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, Twitter. Yeah, we do all that. It's a thing. Now, for a long time, I used to say that if you're on Twitter, you can't ask us questions, but that's no longer the case. You can now ask us questions. We're pretty excited about it. So if you're on that X platform, please say hello. Let us know that you're watching. If you are on any of the other platforms, we got you. Now, I say that, and then I really hope that it's all working the way I said it was, because sometimes things break. And we constantly make those reports to TikTok to let them know, or not to TikTok so much as the folks at Restream, who make all this possible by where we can go to multiple platforms. It's really pretty cool. And I see that Kick is working. I see that Facebook is working. I see that YouTube is working, because I've got messages coming in from TechFee, who says, yo, Victoria Pereira, who says, good morning, hope you're staying warm. Tim Shallow, who says, good morning, Sean. TechVC, they said hi after they said yo. And then, we got Brandon, who's coming in by YouTube. Nobody has mentioned anything on TikTok yet. So when we get a message from TikTok, we will acknowledge you. Corey says, good morning. Hope you had a good weekend, and I hope you enjoyed Friday's episode of Reacher. I did. Yes, I'm all caught up, and I'm waiting for the next episode, which I think is the last episode of the season, which is disappointing that it's over. And I'm reading the very first book, which is what season 1 was based on. So when I finish the book, I will go back and watch season 1 again, I guess. TechV, who has already said yo, has already said hi, now says shout out, please. Not paying attention to the fact that they had 2 prior shout outs. Anyway, Fabio is coming in with a good morning from LinkedIn. Good morning, Fabio. And Paul is waving a hand. Very good. Okay. Okay. They said joke afterwards. But you see, it's a delay. So the joke came in after I'd already given you 3 shout-outs. And I'm not serious about it. It's not a problem. We go shout-out all the time. Let's talk about what we're going to talk about, which is changing the background. 1, 2, 1, 2. Here we go. Once these shows air, I download them. And then I put them up in a podcast format so you can listen to them while you drive, because watching us while you drive is not legal. That's right. Handheld communication device charges are a thing, and we don't want you to have to deal with that. So we let you know right away. I'm noticing that Emma says good morning, and Gavin says, hi, how are you? That's coming through TikTok, and I'm not seeing that here, which is a problem. I'm going to try and reboot the TikTok stream. So give me a second, just a second. We're going to turn TikTok off and on. That might mess things up for you, or it might just go blank for a second. Let's see what happens. Trying this. They said it might work. It might not work. We'll know in a second. All right. Hopefully that's back. And maybe it'll work now. Chase, good morning to you. Let's see here. Oh, right on. TechV says they follow us both on YouTube and Kick. Right on, right on. All right. Let's get into a couple of things. Before I get too much into, well, anything else, I want to tell you what's going on at Vision Zero. See, first off, I should probably tell you what Vision Zero is. It's a dedicated group of officers who spend time focusing on behavioral change, where we're changing driver behavior. They do that one ticket at a time by issuing tickets for big offenses. They look for people who are choosing to engage in the big 4. That's speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, impaired driving, you know, the stuff that leads to serious injury and death on our roads. And obviously we want none of that to happen. We lost too many people because 1 is too many. And I believe we were over 50 last year. 50 deaths as a result of traffic collisions. Not okay. So they're out there changing driver behavior one ticket at a time. And today they're focused on 12 Division and 43 Division. Those are the neighborhoods of Weston, Mount Dennis, Rockcliffe, Smythe, Bendale, Woburn, Highland Creek, West Hill, Guildwood, neighborhoods where real people live, work, and play and deserve to be safe. And of course, they're not limited to those areas. That's just where we're focusing their efforts. But police officers across the city of Toronto are dedicated to changing driver behavior as well. And they will be happy to initiate a traffic stop, issue a ticket, and have a discussion. Now, not every ticket or a stop must end in a ticket when it comes to a divisional officer, but I think you'll find that our Vision Zero enforcement team officers, they don't give out a lot of warnings. They're dealing with big stuff, and big stuff deserves tickets, because that way we change behavior. And if we don't change behavior, we start seeing an accumulation of points, and the ministry changes behavior by way of taking away your license. Okay, back into the chat we go. But I'm glad we talked about that. Yeah. Tomorrow we'll announce where the team will be, or the teams will be. And we do that on Twitter. We do it on Facebook. We do it on Instagram. 6, 7, and 8 o'clock posts go out on various platforms. So if you want to be in the know, follow us there. You can go to TrafficCop.ca to follow us on all of our social media platforms. Kind of the place to be. Okay. Chase. Interesting. Okay. I don't know if that is the case, Chase. I'll have to go double check things, because I saw that there were some things changed, but I believe it was replaced with a different OREG. I think your stuff might be behind, but I will double check. Okay. Good morning. We have, Michael says, good morning. We have TPS Motor Squad test course videos. I wanted to watch them just before the show. I see. I don't know where this test course videos are from, or you're asking if there are some. Do we have? Is that the question? Let me know. Okay, jumping over here to, is it true that police can take hours to come for non-life-threatening situations in Toronto? This is a question from Blaz. So here's the answer. We prioritize our response based on, priority. If someone's an armed, is an armed robbery in progress, life is at risk, versus we're coming to take a report for a break-in that occurred some time ago, and this is just paperwork. Obviously, the one that has immediate threat to life and safety is the one that we need to go to first. And there's a lot of calls coming in. So, yeah, sometimes it takes a long time for non-emergency calls to be attended to. But we do come to calls. And did I put that on the screen? No, I didn't put that on the screen. Let me put that on screen. So it is, and maybe I can send a quick message to tech support. Stand by. TikTok not working. Comments not working in my stream. Tried to reboot. Thank you for watching me do tech support. Start connection. Okay. You know what? I figure I was going to just follow up with them after, but why not follow up with them right now? We have here some people. Oh, Tracy says good morning. Big Smile says good morning from Vancouver. Not sure how you flat foot in an office setting, but this is close. I am here as a media relations officer, as a traffic specialist, and someone who wants to help you know more about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff in general. So we do this weekdays for about an hour, sometimes a little longer. And if you've got questions, feel free to ask. If you're not getting your questions answered, or you don't think we're getting seen, or you're waiting in line and you're impatient, you might be able to jump over to youtube.trafficcop.ca and visit us live in the YouTube chat, which is working perfectly right now, and is always working perfectly, I might add. Okay. What's the cost for not have a trail pass? Mr. Adams wants to know. I wish I had an answer for you. I know nothing about off-road, but we may be seeing, let's see here. We may be seeing a sergeant in a little while. I'll flag this for in the event that they come back, or that he comes back. How do I close this window? There we go. I'm going to close the chat because I'm getting a response from tech support. Okay, I flagged your trail pass question that I don't have an answer for. Were you on the radio last night? Not last night. At least, they may have replayed a bit that I'd been on. I do a lot of segments with a number of different channels, so it's entirely possible that they have aired something that was pre-recorded, but I was not on the radio, at least not live. Okay, Jay Blakes wants to know what you have to do after a medical suspension. So medical suspensions are issued by usually medical practitioners saying that you cannot have a license or cannot drive a motor vehicle for safety for a period of time that they prescribe or until it's reviewed by a medical professional. Now, I don't know if you need to get a doctor's note saying you are now good to go, but you need to apply for reinstatement with the ministry, and you may be asked for specific documentation. More than that, I haven't got anything for you. I don't know if there's a cost involved. Medical suspensions are a little different than regular suspensions, but I've never had to go through it myself. So talk to the Ministry of Transportation, talk to Service Ontario. They will have the best answer for you. And we're going to move on because I don't have anything else I can give you. Becca says, good morning. Good morning to you, Becca. Mike Wazo, let's see, once I got a highlight. Wazowski says, do you know PC Pappy and PC Randy? I do know PC Pappy and PC Randy. PC Papadopoulos is now a member of our Vision Zero enforcement team, and PC Randy Arsenault has since retired, but he's very active on social media, and we see each other's content on a regular basis. Okay, what are your thoughts on auditors? That's squishy squid. Let's put this on screen. Let's see here, auditors. Putting it on screen. On screen we go. Okay. So, Squishy, great username. Auditors, these are the folks that hang around, take video of police engagements. Some of them do things like walk around auditing First Amendment rights in the States, and they'll carry firearms wherever they're legally allowed to. And then police are inevitably called, and they challenge police on whether or not they have to comply with certain things, and does the officer know the law? I have no problem with auditors as long as they're not wasting police resources, interfering with the public, or actually breaking the law. But people doing lawful things is not unlawful, and calling people out if they're being treated inappropriately is legitimate. So yeah, I found no problem with it when it's done legitimately. I do not appreciate when people are just causing problems, though. That's a personal thing. I watch a lot of these auditors on YouTube because I like YouTube, and watching auditors on occasion, sometimes it's just being a pain in the butt, and I don't get why people don't get other hobbies, but whatever. What is the fine for plate covers? The fine for plate covers is $110, but it's also the same fine if your plate is dirty, if your plate is obstructed, if your plate is peeling. It is a problem if the plate is not clearly legible. So make sure that your plate is not covered with a covered with a trailer hitch ball that's in the way, like anything that obstructs the ability for police or a camera to view your plate. And you go there's a separate charge entirely if you're on a 407 or on a toll. If you're trying to evade toll, that's a separate problem. Okay. This is from Leah Brown on YouTube, by the way. Sorry, I'm pausing to read a message from, I'm not actually pausing, but I'm ignoring you for a second to read a message from tech support. Try that. Tried that already. No change. Only impacting TikTok. Okay. I have responded. Okay, back to this. Leah, if you were to accidentally slide on snow, slush, ice, is it the same ticket as doing it deliberately, even if following the road safety laws? So I think what you're asking about is stunt driving. Is that what we're talking about? If you choose to intentionally cause a drift, spin, donut, it is very different than losing traction whilst driving safely. So if you are driving safely and spin out and cause a collision, are you still responsible? Yes, you are. So you're responsible for the movement of your motor vehicle. And if you are to truly, slide all over the place and cause a collision, not intentionally, obviously, you're not stunt driving. We're talking about two different avenues. It means you weren't driving appropriately for the conditions. Now, people could say, well, I was doing the speed limit, but there are times when the speed limit is not appropriate for the weather conditions or road conditions. So if you're doing 60 in a 60 zone and you slide into a pole, 60 wasn't appropriate for that. If you were to, do 5 and you still slid out of control, maybe today wasn't a good day to drive. And I'm sorry to give an answer to that, but at the end of the day, you can still be charged. Okay. Apparently, they cannot fix TikTok at the moment. Cool, thanks. It is what it is. All right, moving along. when pulling a trailer and the chains from the trailer to the truck are long and dragging, is there a charge for this? I guess if you're damaging the road, it could be a problem. I'm not aware of a charge for dragging chains. You could simply place the hook. I think there's ways of doing it to avoid that, to take up some of the slack, but I'm not aware of a charge for it dragging. Again, if you're damaging the road, that could be an issue. And just because I'm not aware of it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Okay. What's the maximum percentage of okay, here we go. This is from Jessica. The question is, what's the maximum percentage of tint that I can put on my windows? Oh, front windows? If we're talking about the windows directly left and right of the driver, you can have no more than 30% light blockage. Now, there's a problem with that. If you have more than 30% light blockage, your vehicle is deemed unsafe. You cannot get it certified for safety. You can't put it on the road. You could have your license plates removed, pulled, and returned to the Ministry of Transportation, requiring you to get a safety inspection done and reapply for new plates. But if you have 30%, could you still get a ticket? Yeah. If you have 30% light blockage, which is the maximum, 70% of light is getting through, but it's dark and we can't see in your vehicle in the dark. We can't see inside the cabin of your vehicle to see what you're doing as a driver, whether you're wearing a seatbelt or describe you in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, you can still get a ticket. It's a $110 fine for obscuring the interior of a motor vehicle with color or reflective tint. So even if the tint is within the legal regulation for percentage of light coming through, but it's reflective, illegal, or if it's dark outside and we can't see in because of it's illegal. So the real deal is you should be very concerned about how much tint you put on. Tint can be a real safety hazard as much as it can be a real nice thing to have once in a while. And I know I'm saying two things at the same time. I don't tint my windows. The cars that come out of the factory these days have UV coatings and all sorts of wonderful things, making it nearly unnecessary. And the best solution, getting sunglasses. Okay. Ahmed's talking about this. We have a sidebar talking about the EPA things we talked about last week. I know something was repealed and replaced, so I don't know what you're looking at, but I will have to look at it later, not now. Can I drive without a back bumper while waiting for a new one? No. Motor vehicles require, and we're talking about cars, trucks, personal vehicles, they require both a front and a rear bumper. Now, if you have a truck that was manufactured with only one bumper, or it was converted, like you got something without a cab on or a box in the back, then it may have different things. If it was built without one, it can run without one. If it was built with one, you got to have one, unless it was converted properly. But cars, trucks, personal vehicles, passenger vehicles absolutely require front and back. You can be charged for not having a rear bumper. Sarah Moonbeam says, hi from London, Ontario. How you doing, Sarah? Okay, we've got more questions. Am I legally required to have mud flaps in Ontario? Putting this up on the screen. This is a question from Patrick. I got fined the other week in Windsor. So if you have tire that is not covered by fender or fender flare, yes, you're required to have mud flaps. If the tire is not covered by, it's sticking out and you're going to create rooster tails, you're absolutely required to have mud flaps. And I can pull this up to get the actual wording, but let's see here. Boop-a-doop-a-doo. Oh, wrong button. Wrong app. Similar place. Highway Traffic Act. Stop it. Mud flaps. Mud guards. So, every motor vehicle and every trailer shall be equipped with mud guards or fenders or other device adequate to reduce effectively the wheel spray or splash of water from the roadway to the rear thereof, unless adequate protection is afforded by the body of the motor vehicle or trailer or by the trailer drawn by the motor vehicle. So, yeah, and it doesn't have to be raining for you to get this charge. It is for debris and or water, regardless of the current weather conditions. Can someone fight a ticket for noise violation on their vehicle if the decibel reader wasn't used by the officer? We don't use decibel readers, so that would not be a defense. The officer would provide evidence. You can certainly fight whatever you like, but if you're providing evidence that if your evidence is that they didn't use a meter, that isn't a defense because it's not required. Ingrid says, "Hi, how are you?" And I say, "I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?" Yeah, that's usually how it goes. You ask, I answer. It goes back and forth. I hope you're doing well. Let's see here. Okay. Leah follows up to say it wasn't loud to begin with. That will be something that you can argue with an officer about. I wasn't there, I don't know, so I couldn't speak to that. But I appreciate that. Very rarely does anybody think that their vehicle was loud when they get a charge. It is somewhat subjective, but the officer's going to provide evidence, and you get to also provide evidence as to what it was. You'll need to explain it to the courts if you want to dispute it. Let's see here. Sarah says, "I'm great. Thank you for all your hard work. And tell my brother Jordan I say hi." You got it. Okay. What is this question? So, would any police officer have a problem with license plate frames with rear camera? It's obscuring or obstructing the plate, then technically it's an obstruction, so yeah, they could. Ingrid says, "Too many people speeding." It's a major problem. I talk about it all the time, and I'd love to see some fantastic electronic devices used to, make it better, because there's just far too many people breaking the speed limits, and it makes for an unsafe roadway. Okay. This is a good question. It's about cell phones. And the question from Artist is, if I use my cell phone to scan at Tim Hortons drive-thru, can I be ticketed? And the answer is no, because you're on private property, and that particular offense cannot be laid on private property. It requires you to be on the road, the highway. The highway is any road in the province of Ontario, by the way. Highway, what we usually refer to as a highway, is the expressway or a controlled access highway, being there's conditions for use, because you can't be on a bicycle on an expressway. Cool. Corey says, when making a right turn on a green light and someone is crossing on the other side, do you have to wait until they complete the cross, or do you have till they get to the middle of the road to make it? Okay, if you are making a right turn and they are crossing from the other side, if they have not met the 50% portion of the roadway, you're not interfering with them or failing to yield to them. Once they make it to 50% and they're coming your way, you must yield to them, and you cannot make your turn. On the other hand, if they're coming from the curb closest to you and they're on the roadway, then once they've met the 50% threshold, they can continue, and you can continue because you're no longer in their way. Now, there is something to be discussed here, and that is pedestrians don't have right-of-way all the time. They have to be legally in the roadway. If you're already in the turn, they can't step out and just walk into your path. They have to yield to you, and if you're already in the turn, they can be ticketed. Let's see here. Diana wants to know, can someone from the U.S. drive my car if they're not under my insurance, but they're insured in the United States? In Ontario, vehicles are insured, not people. Now, people may be listed on policies, and there may be conditions as to who can drive the car. Some policies say no one under the age of 25, or not Bob because Bob sucks. That's that kind of thing. But generally speaking, and no offense, Bob, if Bob, it wasn't you specifically, just using you as an example. Anyway, so yes, an American who's properly licensed could borrow your car. Now, on the flip side, and this is where really things get confusing, Canadians cannot drive an American car in Canada. There's a whole bunch of issues there, which brings me up to another thing. But if you are borrowing your friend's car, that's a problem. I investigated a collision where a gentleman was driving his daughter's car. His daughter lived in Florida. The vehicle was lent to him. He was using it as a long-term vehicle. It was seized by us on behalf of the RCMP, and they received like a $25,000 fine for evading the taxes that should have been paid when it was imported into Canada and not transferred. So there's a whole bunch of rules. And in my discussion with the RCMP staff sergeant at the time, he was a staff sergeant, I was told that even if you were driving to get milk at the corner store, technically it's not permitted for a Canadian to drive that American car in Canada. That's what they told me. Now, interesting things happen. And when we investigate vehicles that are American in Canada, we find the darndest things, like people who are overstaying their visa. Did you know you can't be here more than 6 months plus a day with a vehicle? Yeah. We start investigating these things. We find that people generally, or generally is maybe an exaggeration, very often need to be detained so that the CBSA can come in and take over that arrest and deport the person for being here longer than they are legally permitted to be. And I had that a number of times when I was on the road where someone would drive in and they were here much longer than they were supposed to be. What that time frame is, if it's the vehicle can't be here 6 months plus a day, I don't know about the people though. How long can you visit? Maybe it's a year. I'll have to get a CBSA officer to come here and talk about that. We'll have a podcast episode. But it was somebody yesterday on one of my videos was commenting saying that, you know, when you come to Canada and you apply for a G1, you can't drive without a supervising driver. So they suggested not disclosing their G1 to officers and lying to the officers, suggesting that they're visitors. And to me, that's a great way to get deported, you know, to get found out that you're lying about your status here. It's a bad thing. Don't do that. But mind you, it wouldn't be us who deports. It would be us who arrests on behalf of immigration. They do the rest. Anyway, let's see what else is going on here. Victoria says, took your advice regarding my parking situation. Got a hold of the area supervisor in my division. Was told they would be patrolling more. However, nothing has been done. Should I just give up? Never give up. Never surrender. Movie reference? Does anyone know? Let me know in the comments if you know what video I'm talking or what movie I'm talking about. Just because they get there, or just keep calling and talk to your local counselor. If it's a problem for you, it's a problem for other people too. But escalate. Yeah. For the prep test, do they offer practice before doing the test? Not on the same day that I'm aware of. You wouldn't want to burn yourself out before the prep, but there are practice sessions. Talk to a recruiter, and here's a great opportunity for us to segue into that. If you're interested in becoming a member of the Toronto Police Service, this is where you go. www.tps.ca/careers. Here, I'll put it on screen. That is where you can get all the information you ever wanted to know and more about becoming a police officer, special constable, parking enforcement officer, comms operator, auxiliary officer, or one of many roles within the service that are civilian, which is the ones I like to highlight whenever I'm here. Let's see what's up for grabs. What's on the block? We have 6 different positions: digital team developer, radio infrastructure, an intermediate technical analyst working in the radio infrastructure team. Workplace investigator for equity, inclusion, and human rights, advisor, Indigenous engagement. Yippee is still here, and comms operator. So some opportunities if you're interested. But in terms of special questions, more than just the stuff I can tell you, that you should contact a recruiter about. And planning, obviously, practice sessions, that's something that they would know more about, because I know nothing about it. Okay. People come from London. Can they drive in Toronto? If you're talking about London, Ontario, yeah, it's province of Ontario. It's the same license. In fact, if you came from London, England, you can drive here because we accept the license, and you can actually exchange your license with the Ministry of Transportation if you were coming internationally from most places. Maybe most places is less accurate than many places. Is TPS confirmed to be at the auto show? Question from Chase. Answer to Chase is we have not received our contracts yet, but we are in negotiations, and we are 99% there. Okay. What is this? Replying to Toronto Traffic Services, Toronto Police Service, pay private, third-party company. I don't know what we're talking about. Steve Nielsen's talking to somebody else, I'm assuming, about getting reinstated, but I don't know what we're getting reinstated for. Okay. Kiana wants to know what is the appropriate response for emergency vehicles on the highway. Should you pull to the right like you do on main roads? Yeah. Depending on where they are. Now, listen, if you're in the left lane, it's traffic. Sometimes pulling over to the left shoulder is the right way to go. It really depends on what's going on and what is feasible. We generally want you to pull over to the right. Generally. Let's see here. Okay, that was just a tech support update. So yeah, if I see someone going in a direction I don't want them to go, look for the hand, because I'll stick my hand out the window and wave you to the correct direction. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Corey says 33 Division is my local division. When I was in school, we had Officer Neil come by and talk with our class every couple of months. Have you ever had? Oh, a bunch of stuff just popped up. Oh, have you ever had the pleasure of meeting that officer? I can't say that I do, but I meet a lot of officers, and I don't know if I've met Officer Neil. I will be on the lookout for an Officer Neil. Okay. Good morning, Ian, who just popped in from YouTube. Austin wants to know if this is a TPS yarmulke or a kippa. It is. It is an issued one. Very excited when they came out. I thought it was pretty awesome, and proudly wearing that. Cold Laker says, good morning, Warrior at TTC. Oh, maybe that's at a particular member. Yeah, I thought they were talking to me. I was like, why am I a Warrior? Okay. I'm going to cut and paste a whole bunch of stuff on screen because they're scrolling too fast for me to keep up with. They're talking about more trail stuff. How many days? Oh, I'll put this on screen. It's amazing when Mondays are actually Mondays in terms of messing with technology. Okay, how many days should we pay the red light jump ticket? Now, I'm not sure what we're talking about. Are you talking about red light running? You got a camera ticket? I think you have 15 days. It would say on the ticket. We're not involved with that. That's entirely with the City of Toronto. But the deal is that when you get a ticket from us, you have 15 days to respond, whether you want to fight it or take it to court or pay it or book a date with a prosecutor. Okay. But in terms of red light jumping, if you're talking about stunt driving, you get a court date. You don't have an option to pay. So I think we're talking about different things. We have a question about underglow and whether or not it is legal or not illegal. And the answer is, it depends. It's not specifically illegal. However, it is something that could violate other laws. So if you have underglow that has light bulbs visible and shining light to the front or to the back, that's going to cause problems because you can't have that. You can't project different colors to the front. You can only have yellow or white to the front. You cannot have anything other than yellow or red to the rear. And you can see where this is going, where you might get headlight or taillight issues, but specifically issues for no. Okay, question about, can you please talk about the rules for car rallies, protests, or slowing honking cars with flags allowed? That gets into sticky stuff, but you're totally two different topics. Car rallies, generally speaking, if you're doing some kind of parade, you get a permit beforehand. Protests, I believe, are the same thing. If you're holding up traffic, interfering with traffic, there are potential issues. And I wouldn't be the right person to address them all. But when you're interfering with traffic, it could absolutely be an issue. Let's see here. Do you know that NYPD has a one-star chief? Yes, I do. Ian, we'll have to chat about it later, but I absolutely knew about that. In fact, I'm on one of their Facebook pages. Okay. People getting caught from red light camera, how many points? Okay. No points. Great deal, right? It is a monetary fine. It is not an offense issued to the driver. When it's issued to the driver, that's when points become an issue. There's no points issued as a result of the owner responsibility offense. Cold Laker says, Randy can't retire. No, Randy retired like October 2 years ago, I think. Sarah says, hi from London, Ontario. Hello. We talk about that already? So we're talking about covers for license plates. And the question is, what if the cover is entirely clear? And the answer is you cannot have a cover regardless of its clarity. Now, are we focused on pulling everybody over for everything? No. We will not. If we can read it legibly, it's probably not going to be our primary focus. If you're already speeding and we notice that we have a cover, we'll probably give you a warning for the cover. If we cannot, if it's not legible, it's a problem. But yeah, we're not pulling over everybody for everything. It's just not feasible. Will there be a day when you will get a ticket for having a cover of any kind? Absolutely. I've been tagged a million times in a video that's going around right now where people have clear covers, but with some electricity, they're going opaque. There's a lot of people who are trying to avoid detection or interfering with the ability for people to read their license plates. So is it becoming more and more of an issue because of people who are monkeying around with stuff? Yeah. Don't modify your plates. Don't interfere with the ability to read them. It's a bad, bad day at the office if you do. $110 fine to start. If you're actually modifying, that's a much higher. It's actually arrestable. Let's see here. Does traffic services still board TTC to patrol distracted driving? There's projects all the time. I don't think there's anything currently being done, but we have been known to get on TTC streetcars and buses and watch cars for distracted driving. Exactly what you said. What is the most expensive traffic fine you get? Under the Highway Traffic Act, I think that it's going to be the $615 ticket for distracted driving. It's currently I think it's the highest. That's the face value ticket. If you're talking about like the insurance, the Compulsory Automobile Insurance Act, driving no insurance is $5,000 to $25,000. So, and that's first conviction. That it can go up in the second. Okay. Going back to plates that are interfered with or dirty or unreadable. So here's the question. Just checking says, what if the plate got covered with snow as you were driving but clear when started driving? If it is accumulation while you are driving, we get it. It's fresh snow, and we would be able to identify that. Now, if it's happening while you're driving, chances are it is dirty snow from the ground. If you have fresh white snow on it, I'm going to assume that that was falling snow or accumulated snow, not fresh from the ground. So we have clues. If it's something that's fresh fallen snow and half your car is also under the white stuff, you're going to get a ticket because you didn't clear your snow, you didn't clear your plate. If it's fresh from the ground, I get it. But every time you come to a stop, I don't mean stop at a traffic light. I mean stop. You go for a bite to eat. You go to get gas. You make stops along your day. Clear your license plate again. But we are human. We get it when it's happening fresh live because all of the back of your car is all matching with fresh guck. We get it. Let's see here. Underglow. Okay, Tracy has a comment. And then Rusty has a question. We'll get to you in just a second. Hello. So Tracy says, when driving in snowy bad weather or in any bad weather, is it mandatory to put full lights on? So mandatory lighting is required half an hour before sundown until half an hour after sun up. But snowing, I mean, it's advisable to put your full headlighting system on when visibility is an issue. But is it required by law?
I do believe it is.
Really?
Yes.
When atmospheric conditions come into play, requiring?
I do believe that's the wording that...
they use those big fancy words. I flagged the question for you. I'm just reminding myself about trail permits and things. It's all right up your alley.
All right.
So we'll come back to that. So we can confirm. But here's the thing. Whether it's mandatory or not, if it's bad weather, put your lights on.
Well, be seen. Let others see where you are and where you're traveling. That's why there's white and yellow lights to the front and red lights to the back. So when the atmospheric conditions make it hard to discern which way a car is supposed to be traveling or going, everybody can tell.
Let's see here. Headlight.
I'll look it up while you're bringing up the next one.
I think I got it right here. When on the highway at any time from 1/2 hour before sunset to 1/2 hour after sunrise, and any other time when due to insufficient light or unfavorable atmospheric conditions, persons and vehicles on a highway are not clearly discernible at a distance of 150 meters or less, every motor vehicle or motorcycle, other than a motorcycle, shall carry 3 lighted lamps in a conspicuous position, one on each side of the front of the vehicle, which shall display white or amber light only, and one on the rear of the vehicle, which shall display a red light only.
Absolutely, exactly what I said.
That's where we were.
You know what? It's kind of surprising, though, that The law says there only needed one red light on the rear. Most cars are made with two.
Yes, but I think it's in case one were out.
But you require two on the front. Even if one was out, you'd get a ticket for that.
True.
I think they should change that and make two red lights on the rear.
I wonder why they did that.
I don't know.
We should question them. Where were those people who wrote the law?
Probably
We'll find
looking
them.
back to the old Model Ts where they only had one red light.
Yeah.
That's probably where it continued
And
on
then no
from.
one thought to change it.
Yeah.
Mr. Adams says, what's the cost for not having a trail pass?
Well, if you buy a trail pass, you contribute to the trail system in Ontario or wherever you're riding, which I strongly support. I buy mine early so that I get a discount on it. So there is specific offenses for operating, there are specific offenses under the Motorized Snow Vehicle Act for not having your trail permit, and there's also trespassing on top of that. And you can get both at the same time.
Ooh.
So I can tell you what the cost is. It'll take me a second to look it up, but if you look up the Motorized Snow Vehicle Act, there's an Ontario webpage that will be able to show you that all the charges you can get on your snowmobile, and it should be there.
In the meantime, Rusty Shackelford says, can you settle the debate for my buddy and I? Is a canoe a conveyance for the purposes of impaired laws? Also, why?
Yes.
It is, and it's being clarified because it has been determined or classified as a vessel under the, what act was it?
The Inland Waters Act and the Navigation Act.
There you go. So for that purpose,
Navigable Waters Act.
and we just had it tried in court, tested in court, and someone was convicted for impaired operation of a canoe that resulted in the death of a child.
And it is because all vessels are included in the definition within the criminal code. So that doesn't mean that a bicycle, which is also muscular powered, would be included. It's a vehicle, but it's not a motor vehicle.
We thought there might be a stretch that we could do that, but it doesn't work.
It doesn't seem to work
Not yet.
that way. But you know what? Somebody will test that law, and then they'll come up with some case law in the courts, and things may change, like they did on this one.
Chase wants to know, if you're chasing a vehicle that is running through red lights, do you still have to come to a complete stop for every single one if the intersection looks empty? So police, fire, and ambulance going through a red light must come to a stop at a red a signalized intersection displaying us a red light. We have to have our lights and sirens on. We have to come to a complete stop. We have laws to follow, even though criminals choose to ignore all of them. And stop signs, too. We can't just drive through stop signs. We have to come to stops.
The fine for no permit is $240 total pay.
Boom.
There you go.
Jim B wants to know if it's legal or if it's illegal to speed in school zones. It's illegal to speed anywhere because it's speeding that you've just described in the question, the charge, which is illegal.
Anywhere that there's a speed limit, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
There isn't one on a lake.
True.
Just saying.
But we're talking about highways here. But he was saying in school zones in particular.
Sorry, there is one on a lake if you're boating.
This is true. It's so weird. I wonder if we can convert that to knots to kilometers and enforce that on the water.
We can, nautical?
But charge them for the nautical speed when they're driving on the ice.
Probably not.
No, that stinks. Do you know PC Pappy? Yes, we do. Corey says, good morning, Sergeant. Northern
morning.
Pike says, hello, everybody, or hey, everyone. Michael wants to know if it's illegal to drive my car if it's misfiring. So interesting thing. We talked yesterday or Friday about the driving with your engine light on being an EP. But then Chase did some homework and says, well, that's being repealed. So I have to go look at it.
Really? So the Environmental Protection Act, we talked on, well, I didn't talk on Friday, but we talked on Friday, saying it's unlawful to operate your vehicle on the road if your check engine light was on. I didn't know it, but we found it.
Yes, and it still shows as current where we saw, but it's possible. My stack of papers here. This was printed in January 4th, 2020. So I think it's it doesn't make a lot of sense that it would have been canceled so soon.
It's still in the books.
Yeah, but sometimes there's a little notation underneath it that says repealed or so. According to, I was looking for a date. He said what date it was repealed.
So if your car is misfiring, obviously you're going to be able to hear it. Is that unnecessary noise? Probably it is.
He said it was revoked on July 1st, 2022. Well, which comes after 2020, so we'll have to look into it. I love finding this stuff out. I think this is great. But it doesn't say that where I was looking. In any case, moving along. I got to grab this and slide down.
So let's go back to the misfiring.
Yes.
Unnecessary noise?
Yes.
Probable. Possible. Maybe. Depends. Would your check engine light be on? Probable.
So that could be a thing too.
Possible. Maybe. Depends on the year of your vehicle. Depends on what's happening with it. If it's misfiring, you don't have your full power. So you're not controlling your vehicle properly should you need it. So could it be an unsafe motor vehicle? If it is stalling and not going and everything, yes, it could be as well. So I would say grab a tow truck. Cheaper than all the fines.
You might also be damaging your vehicle. If something's going wrong and you're just hammering down and pushing through it, you could be doing damage. So you may want to for your own benefit, not because you're breaking the law, because you don't want to end up blowing your engine. Like what else could be going wrong? I'm not a mechanic. I don't actually know. I'm speculating. Chase wants to know, if an officer asked you to roll up your window to check your tint, what happens if you refuse to assist? That sounds like an inspection for safety, and there's a ticket if you refuse to comply with an inspection.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's another charge for that. We can ask you to pop the hood, and we want to look inside. We can have you do all sorts of things. And failure to comply with that is a charge. I don't want to look it up right now, but it exists. I know that for certain. Jim Bean, not Beam. You should go back to work. TikTok doesn't pay your salary. We, the taxpayers, do. Taxpayers. I love these comments. It's funny. We've been talking about this for a couple of days online. And while taxpayers do pay my salary by way of going into the police budget, I'm doing a lot of work here, folks. We're talking about traffic safety. We're answering your questions, and I'm actually taking the time to answer your questions, Jim, which I wouldn't be able to do if I wasn't here doing it.
So by doing it this way, we have found that we can reach out to an awful lot more people and make our roads safer by giving the information before somebody goes out and does something that they shouldn't be doing and gets caught or causes a collision or hurts somebody. So if you have a question, if you don't know if something's legal or not, do it here.
Much better for you.
You're on a work accommodation. You on your own came up with the idea for doing this because you were used to engaging people one-on-one. And now you're engaging many, many people at the same time.
We're creating a library of stuff that will last well beyond my career.
Yep.
And what's interesting is, just like you said, I would engage people, but if I did 20 stops, I spoke to 20 people. If I investigated 5 or 6 collisions in a day, that might be high or low based on standards, but it is just a pocket of people that I get to help. Here, I'm speaking to thousands. In fact, 2,568 people have been viewing this live stream on and off. People pop in and out. We have 25 people on YouTube currently watching. These episodes are in podcast format. They're available forever and ever and ever, and they're a resource. And I totally appreciate if you don't like it and you're not impressed by it or find value in it, you don't have to be here. But for the people who do appreciate it, and there are many, this is a great thing. Yeah.
It's funny that people that don't like us being here,
chances are they don't like police.
but they stick around and they watch.
Well,
they continue to watch.
And they complain regularly, but they do continue to watch. So we've got their attention. Let's see here. Have you ever played the game Grand Theft Auto? If so, do you like the game? This is Corey asking. I think I played the very first, this is Rockstar Games, I think. I think I played it a million years ago. Game which premise is to steal cars and rob drug dealers or to be a drug dealer. Not really. I like the cop games where you're the cop.
Yes.
But yeah, I think video games can be quite interesting. But that's not my idea of fun, that particular game.
You know what? If that's your idea of fun, it's better you're doing it on a video game than doing it on the streets. So
it looks like dangerous driving. You're smashing into stuff. I mean, I'm sure I enjoyed it when I played it, but in retrospect and playing it, I wouldn't play that now. But I think that's a platform that's done some really cool things with animation, and they've really developed. It's got a huge following.
Absolutely.
I like the military themed games. Like I play Call of Duty. Very rarely, but I do play the free version online on my phone or on an iPad, because that's something that I don't have a gaming system. I
don't game
at all, ever.
No, maybe the Wii.
I had a Wii. We played tennis. I had Guitar Hero. That's what I played. I just saw my Guitar Hero guitar, but I have no idea where the wires are to connect it or where the discs are. A disc with.
I know.
I watched a
You're so old.
yeah, like dirt. I watched a clip on Instagram yesterday, and it was just a reel full of memories from the 80s. It was the Nestle Quick container and winding the cassettes when it came out, and playing with the, I had an Atari 2600, the first one. It was such a blast to watch that 1 minute video. I have to pull it up and play it for you. If your wipers are on, your vision distant. What is this? If your wiper are on, your vision distance is much less than 150 meters.
So I think what Paul's saying here is if you have to turn your wipers on, probably you can't see farther than 150 meters because it's raining. So
Which makes sense. You need your lights on.
If that's what you're saying, I agree with you.
Yes. Supporting lights should be on. Hey, there you go. Lights should be on. I support that. Let's see here. Just Dance 738 says, to be fair, educating the public on the laws they plan to use to ticket us is exactly the work police should do here on TikTok and other social media. Well, thank you very much. It's exactly what we're talking about. Let's see. How much of the fine for no license and no plate? Debating with my brother.
No license plate or no license?
Well, no license, I think, is $350, which is different than a suspended license, which is a whole different ball of wax. If you truly have no license at all, you've expired it, you chose not to renew it, or you never had it, I think it's $350. And that can go higher in court. That's just the face value.
Yeah.
Then you're talking about the no plate. Well, if you've never registered, an unregistered vehicle is a bigger question. Just not having the plate attached is $110. Yeah.
And could be the front and the back. You could get $220.
Failed to display two plates is that's another one. But not registering your vehicle, there's additional fines for that.
My goodness. There's a whole pile. If you don't register it, don't safety it, and you're operating on the road.
Yeah. I'm also assuming if you have no license and no plate, you have no insurance, which is $5,000 to $25,000 up to 6 months in jail. You can see how this can get expensive real fast. And a lot of people, they roll the dice and they figure, well, if it costs me $5,000 for insurance, I'm picking a number out of the air, and I don't pay and I don't get into a collision, I save $5,000 a year. And if I only get a $65 ticket once in a while, what a great deal that is. Right up until the point where you hurt someone and you get sued for $2 million.
And then you're paying for the rest of your life.
And I know people who have done that.
And they take your house, and they take your parents' house, and they take everything.
Yep. It is funny that there is, we don't think about the big picture. People tend not to think about it.
You know what? I'm not a fan of insurance companies being able to charge whatever they want, but I am a fan of having insurance. And everything I have, everything I operate off my own property has insurance on it.
By the way, for anyone who's watching on Instagram, you're currently looking at Buddy the Bear back there, not myself or Sergeant Campbell, who are on the sides. If you want the wide-angle view, go to youtube.trafficcop.ca or any of the other platforms we're on, but not Instagram because that's just a letterbox in the middle or the vertical box in the middle. Someone on Instagram says, so there is a power rating for vehicle license plate light, but is there a bright rating? Can someone have a super bright plate light and the right power and obstruct it? With the right, so 3 candela is a tiny bulb. You can't have something that's projecting white light rearward.
Right. So it has to be projecting at the license plate, showing the license plate. If you want to put a brighter one in there, as long as the white is not facing back, you're okay.
But if we're talking about you're gonna blind retinas or burn retinas, that's a problem. Now, a lot of people talk about the LED lights that are going forward. And they're saying that the new lights are just blinding. Is there a maximum? And I believe there is a maximum. I can't remember if it's 3,000 candela or 8,000. There's a number somewhere about maximum. At the end of the day, it's what direction it's going. If it's in your eyes, it's probably misdirected.
And if you see an awful lot of these off-road light bars that people are mounting to their cars and trucks, those are unlawful at any time, whether you have your headlights on or not. I saw a guy driving the other day. He only had his off-road light bar across his grill turned on. He has no ability to turn it down, high beam, low beam. It's not rated for the certain distance that you're required from here. And it's bright. And it's not a spotlight, it's a floodlight. So everybody gets blinded all at the same time.
It's a no good.
It's a no good.
Never give up, never surrender. Do you know what that movie quote is from?
Never give up, never surrender? Nope.
So earlier someone didn't get any, it's Galaxy Quest. Have you seen Galaxy Quest?
I'm sure a million years ago.
It's not that old, but it's one of my favorites. Someone asked if they should give up because they've made a complaint against parking enforcement or they want parking enforcement to come and deal with parking issues in their neighborhood. They've made the complaint. No one's coming. Should they give up? I said, never give up, never surrender. And I stand by that. And good for you, for Brandon, who got that reference.
And you know what? If you have to make a phone call, make a phone call.
Well, I say talk to counselors.
Yep, absolutely.
100%. Squeaky wheel. They get the grease. When is next show? I like your show. Well, I'm glad you like the show. Thanks for popping in. We will be back tomorrow, same time, 10 a.m. Eastern time, to do this all again. We generally go for an hour. We sometimes stretch it a little bit. Today, I think we're going to end very shortly, just because we're having technical difficulties. The TikTok link isn't working again, so it's been manual. Messes with the flow. But if you want to come back, go to youtube.trafficcop.ca. Follow us on YouTube. Get notifications there. You can schedule reminders. It works the way it should. Sometimes TikTok doesn't. But it is still our favorite platform because they love us. And we love you back.
And we're on TikTok, but we don't actually have TikTok.
Yeah, we use a third-party piece of software that links to TikTok. This is how we do what we do. We're not actually using the TikTok app. It is an RTMP portal with Restream, a third-party provider that allows us to tunnel in. So our single camera is sending out a channel or a signal to multiple systems like Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. And then RTMP allows the chat to come back unless it doesn't work, which really messes with our flow. Okay. We got here Michael, who says, GTA is okay. There are mods to play as police, but annoying to get working after game updates. All right, very good to know. Tian Luan wants to know, I rented a vehicle last year that had Quebec plates on it. It only had a back plate. Would I be ticketed for not having a front plate? So it's a vehicle that's registered in the province of Quebec doesn't require a front plate here. There's an exemption for it that Chase brought up to our attention because we always thought that logic prevailed, but apparently they actually wrote it in the small print.
Yep. Some provinces actually give you the option, if you're living there, to have one or two plates mounted or issued to your car, which I think is a fantastic idea. If you do an awful lot of traveling out of province, it's great, keeps you within compliance.
Michael also says, as a game developer who made 911 operator video games. Okay, this is more than I don't have the time to invest in these things. Getting deep into the video games that just take up a ton of time. There's no time. I wish there was more time.
I'm not a gamer.
Police Quest. Oh my goodness! Now we're talking about old school. Police Quest. Yeah, was that a word game? I think Police Quest was a word only, like on my Apple II. I don't remember, but I know I've seen Police Quest. I think I played Police Quest. I have my Apple II. I've got to go look through the 5 1/4 inch discs that I have for it. Burger, can someone make a left turn on a green when someone's making a right turn the opposite way? Left turn on a green when someone's making a right turn the opposite way.
So anybody making a left turn crossing a traveled lane of traffic can only do so when it is safe to do so. The person making the right turn has the right of way. So anybody making the left has to yield to everybody else and can only do it when it is safe to do so.
Here's an interesting question. And Linda has a question about flashing red lights. We'll come back to that.
All right.
But Karina wants to know, if someone has really dark tint, but their car is registered in a place that allows it, is it allowed? So if you have really dark tint and you are visiting us, and the standards here say that that vehicle is unsafe for the road, your vehicle is unsafe for the road here, we won't allow it. It's like saying that some places don't require insurance, but when you enter into Canada, the condition is that you have insurance. Yep, so it's conditional entry.
Yep.
You could have problems.
Which is a little bit different from the front license plate because there's an exemption built into the law for it. But your safety of your vehicle, including your tint, because it is a safety thing, there's no exemption for that.
Let's see here. We have how to become a police officer. I'm in my last year of high school. These are good questions. So we talked about employment earlier, and the best thing to do is read up about the police service you want to join. If Toronto Police is where you'd like to come and work, www.tps.ca/careers is the website where you can study up and find out all about our service. From a career perspective, you should also do some research about who we are and what we do and familiarize yourself with that. There's things that you should look at, like volunteering in your community, giving back, being committed to the community you want to protect and serve, having a good driving record, get your license because that's a requirement, and then maintain a good driving record, and then work to being able to meet the goals and requirements of application.
Yep, absolutely. Be the type of person we think all police officers should be.
Which is good.
And do it on your own time and show us that you can do it.
Mm-hmm. And then come collected, like come ready. And I would definitely develop a relationship with the recruiting team, talk to them, ask them questions. They are more than happy to help you. You can come out to practice sessions for the physicals. There's all sorts of opportunities, information sessions, get all your questions asked. But when you put your application in, at that point, make sure that you can pass everything that needs to be passed and that you're ready to represent. Yeah.
Yeah.
You think they're going to change the speed limit from 50 to 60 an hour again? This is a question from Jeep. Is it Jeepers? I don't know how to answer that. We just finished lowering them.
Yep.
And they're being lowered or have been lowered because it increases the odds of survival if a pedestrian is struck. The slower you go, the less damage is done, generally speaking. You know, at 60 kilometers an hour, we have a higher chance of death and serious injury than at 50. And many 50s were reduced to 40s and 40s down to 30s. So I don't think there's going to be a race to put it back up. And frankly, I'm used to driving this lower speed now. It doesn't even feel slow, just what it is. But a lot of people have – speeding's a big topic. People think that we should go faster because cars are better.
Yep. And you know what? That may be true. But if that was to happen, then the collision rate would go down. And it hasn't.
That you're saying that the reduction in speed would reduce the collisions?
If it just solely depends on technology in cars, then with the new technology that's out in cars, there should be no crashes.
Right.
That's obviously not true because we still have an awful lot of crashes.
And the fact that we only have, I say only, I don't remember the final number, we were approaching or maybe even surpassed 50 traffic fatalities last year. That considering that that's only that low because of the magic of modern medicine, we would have much more people, many, many more people dying as a result of the poor driving decisions every day made on our roads.
And that includes slowing down the traffic. That includes bringing speed limits down. That includes
changing designs of intersections to accommodate pedestrians. Like, over 25 of those were pedestrian struck. Like it's shockingly high. And we we talk about Vision Zero. Vision Zero suggests that we should have 0 deaths and serious injuries on our road. To say that we're losing 50 in a year is totally unacceptable. And that's the whole concept behind Vision Zero. We understand minor collisions are going to happen, but the ones that are should not be because they're avoidable and unacceptable.
Yeah.
Okay. We talked about police quest. This is more. Had graphics. Oh, okay. I remember Sierra, Broderbund software. I haven't said that in 100 years. Broderbund. Okay. Was it Broderbund or Broderbund? Anyway, I got to look it up. Is there still, what is this? Is there still a tow truck turf war in the GTA, or have the new rules squashed it?
So the provincial government started some new towing and storage safety rules that started January 1st. And that's directly to deal with the tow truck turf wars that are going on in the GTA. There's an awful lot of money in predatory tows, recommendations to favorite garages, car rental places, things like that, where it's your insurance money that goes to pay for this. And the violence that is happening because of the money to be made is out there, and people are getting caught in the crossfire. It's not just burning tow trucks, but there's shooting and stuff like that. So, yes, we're going to do everything we can to use the laws that we have at our disposal to get rid of it. Has it happened yet? Probably not.
You mean the total squashing of the
tow truck wars, the turf wars? Yeah.
People, it's all about chasing the dollars. Linda sent a message that I forgot about her.
You probably did.
I did. Thank you for reminding me. Flashing a red light at a fire station. Treat it like a red light and cone. I think it's come to a stop until it stops flashing, or stop sign, and come to a complete stop and proceed when safe to do so. Flashing a red light at a fire station. I'm trying to envision where this would be the case.
So I know of some fire stations that when the fire trucks are getting ready to come out, there will be a flashing red light at the front of the fire station to notify everybody.
Get ready.
To leave the space open, the driveway open in front, so that the fire trucks can actually exit. I think that's what you're talking about, Linda. So common sense would say, yes, if a big fire truck is needing to get out and come and save somebody's life, yes, we should stop and wait until they've passed. So I think this is more for intersections, busy roads where there's a traffic light up ahead that you would maybe block the area.
Well, in York Region, they put these painted lines saying "You shall not stop here."
Yep.
Just to keep everybody ready.
Which is fantastic. So I think that's the red light you're talking about. If not, give me some...
Where to go on?
Yeah, give me some more information.
Can I get a ticket for not wearing a seatbelt in a plaza driving one shop to another?
Can you get a ticket? No. You don't... most of the rules of the Highway Traffic Act don't exist on private property.
There's only a few that do.
There's only a few that actually do. All of the criminal code does exist on private property, though. But a seatbelt is not one of them. Now, is it recommended? Absolutely not, because a collision in a parking lot hurts just the same as a collision on the street. So
it does hurt,
sense.
and you're still responsible for whatever happens.
Yes.
But now there are exemptions for seatbelts on the road in some circumstances, but seatbelts remain the best way to protect you in the event of a collision, to keep you inside the vehicle in the event of a rollover or a head-on, or there's just so many bad things that happen from not wearing it. You're best to put it on. I cannot stand the bing, bing, bing sound that goes off if you don't wear it. I have been programmed to always put it on. But I will talk to certain people, possibly my father, that whenever I call him on the phone while he's driving, I hear that annoying sound, and yet he does not hear it.
I can't drive without it.
I can't either. It's just, and so many people think, well, airbags will keep me safe. Airbags work in conjunction with your seatbelt. It's a seatbelt restraint system, SRS, on the airbag most of the time. It is not an independent replacement for seatbelts. In fact, you probably get really, really injured if you hit the airbag that's deploying at 200 miles per hour without the ability to, stop before the airbag.
Yep.
Anyway,
so
bad day.
You said SRS on the airbag. So SRS stands for supplemental.
Oh, is that what it is?
Restraint
See, I always say seatbelt restraint system. I thought it was great. See, here I am making up my own initials.
Your primary restraint is your seatbelt. The airbags are supplemental to your seatbelt.
There you go. Look at that.
So there you go.
I probably knew that and keep calling it seatbelt because it goes with my story better. No, actually, I didn't realize it was supplemental. Unless I forgot. Here's the next one. On the highway, would you pull someone over doing 120? Depends. Was there someone doing 140 that I could catch first? It really depends. If no one's doing 120 and you're the only, but you and everyone else is doing the speed limit, you look like a good candidate for a stop.
So 120 is a speeding ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And you know what? It depends. Maybe that officer will one day and won't the next day. It all depends.
It truly does.
Can you be stopped? Can you be charged? Absolutely you can.
20% over the limit. It's a points. It would get you points.
Yep. 16
or over gets you points. It's just a bad idea. The problem is that everyone seems to think it's okay, so everyone sort of does it. It's just not okay. It's not the right way to do it. I don't know why there's such entitlement when it comes to speed. It's only 20 over. It's only 40 over. It's only 200. Like that's it just, people keep creeping up there, and we see these people doing ridiculous speeds on the highway. And then we have folks who are cutting through. It just makes it less safe for everybody else. Yeah.
I think Linda just responded there.
In Alberta, there are actually red lights in front of the fire station. They flash if trucks are coming out. There you go.
I think that's a fantastic idea.
There's so many things. And they have cool stuff, like when they want to go somewhere, all the lights that outside of a police station, fire station, I should say, change to give them priority. And in many jurisdictions, they have equipment on the vehicle that will change lights as police cars approach. It is cool stuff.
Yes. It used to be quite a while ago that flashing your high beams at the traffic light
Could trigger them.
That's not the case anymore. So
No.
don't keep
But
doing
I see
it.
people doing it all the time.
Yep. That'll only get you a ticket.
But now technology's changed that they can use radio frequency, Bluetooth, all sorts of things if the jurisdiction uses it or utilizes it. Lots of great options. Roman says, in Quebec, the limits on highway speed have a minimum and a maximum. What's the minimum speed on our highway? So we don't post a minimum, although I think it's a great thing that could be done, should be done. There's a lot of signs to print. It depends what someone's doing. It's not, if someone was doing 60 or 40 in a 100, that's obviously unnecessary slow driving. It's obviously dangerous. If your vehicle is not capable of going faster, get off the highway.
And it is a ticket.
It is a ticket for unnecessary slow driving. If it's a situation where you're going, at the speed limit and everybody else is going faster, stay to the right because you can't control what anybody else does. They're going to be doing unsafe things to get around you. And that's where the OPP, although I don't specifically agree with the employment or the implementation of this particular offense, is they will charge someone who's doing the speed limit in the left lane because it's causing the lawbreakers to do even more dangerous stuff to pass them.
I agree with it and disagree with that as well.
It's a really strange place, but fortunately it's not something I have to deal with. But I will tell you that if you're going a constant speed and not actively passing, stay to the right, and then give police a clear sight to use laser speed measurement devices to capture the speed of those who are choosing to break the law.
And those that are putting you, the other driver, in danger by traveling so fast.
100%. And then you've got the people who are speeding marginally. You have the people who are doing the right thing, and then you have the real dum-dums who are just zipping between. That's stunt driving. It's a great charge. I like to lay that charge.
Yep. Marked departure.
Doug Allen says, from personal experience, there are some groups in the tow business that are just organized crime. People who own a tow company and their son owns a body shop and their cousin owns a rental car agency. That's a really good point. And, not calling anyone in particular, but if a tow truck driver says, do you know where you want to have your car towed? Many people don't have an answer for that. And maybe you should think about that and prepare yourself for the what-if situation. Where do I want my car towed in the event I get into a collision? Somewhere you know and trust, maybe your dealer. You can get a quote. You don't have to have it serviced there. You might have to pay transportation, or the insurance company may choose to. And that's another thing. The insurance company may have a list of people that they want to do business with that are authorized. Know this kind of stuff maybe in advance of signing a contract and letting them take it somewhere.
Yep. Have a look at your insurance. A lot of insurance contracts actually state how much they're going to allow you to be charged for towing. And if you sign the bill and the tow bill is way more than that, they may not cover it. So.
And that means it's coming out of your pocket because you just did what they said. If you go to their cousin Freddie's shop, they may be in the business of overcharging insurance. It might be a fraud thing. It might be a problem.
Now, that's not saying all of them.
Certainly not.
There are a vast majority of people operating tow trucks out there are fantastic people, and they're there to help you, and they're there to assist.
Yeah.
They're now prohibited from suggesting this to you, though. So,
they were not prohibited before?
Well, in the city of Toronto, they were because
okay.
we had a bylaw. Now we have a provincial law with some serious fines if they do that.
It's good. The idea is to protect you and protect yourself, and information is key. Knowledge is key. Let's see here. Linda, there's still discussion about this. Okay. So Michael says, in regards to the flashing light in front of a fire hall, he says, a flashing red light on a highway at a fire hall driveway is covered by stopping at a flashing red light, 144 sub 21.
So the ones I've seen in Ontario, they don't actually have a flashing red light out on the roadway to direct traffic.
I've never seen any of these.
They have a flashing red light on the fire hall itself to give you the clue that, hey, maybe you shouldn't do it.
Clues are good.
So would it fall under 144? Maybe, maybe not. Flashing red lights are made to work in conjunction with stop signs or traffic signals that maybe are not functioning when it's an all-way stop.
Linda says, for years there have been arguments that it's a complete stop until the light stops flashing. Others say it's like a stop sign, regular flashing light that you can proceed when it's safe to do so. I can't say for certain because I've never seen this or heard of it until we just started talking about it, but I would think that if it's flashing and nothing's going on, a flashing light is a four-way stop or a stop, and you would proceed with caution or proceed when it's safe to do so.
So the clue there in what you're saying right now, it's flashing.
Yeah, not solid.
We have to stop and wait for a solid red light at a traffic signal. If it is a flashing red light, even at a traffic signal, we stop, proceed when it's safe to do so. That's an Ontario law. I don't know what it is in Alberta, but
yes,
we could have a look.
Yeah, but I think that's right. It's the because if you go to a signalized intersection, flashing yellow in your direction is proceed with caution.
Yep.
Flashing red is treated as a stop sign, but it's only solid red that is
that you
stop.
cannot proceed until it turns green.
Yeah, I think we've got your answer there because Linda says no one here wants to answer it. We totally want to answer it. I love finding answers.
So my suggestion, and I don't know what the laws are in Alberta, is a flashing red light is exactly that. It's flashing because you can stop till it's safe to proceed.
Complete stop.
Yep.
Leah says, thank you guys for answering all our questions. Well, you're most welcome. LJ says, if your car is disabled and a tow truck shows up that you didn't call, do you have to use them?
Depends where you are. So in the restricted tow zones on the 400 series highways and the Queen Elizabeth Way in the GTA in Toronto, there's only certain tow trucks that are allowed to tow for you. Now, if you call your auto club and they're on the way, that may be, if it's possible, you can wait and have them. But if they come out and they say, I'm sorry, but you're in a restricted tow zone and I'm the only one, this is my rates, you can submit that to CAA. They're aware of this.
CAA will reimburse you if you've been directed or you're in a place where they can't get to. It's not reasonable. It's a safety issue. And you can call them. They'll verify that.
And in the restricted tow zones as well. If you're on a country road and a tow truck or a side road and a tow truck shows up and says, I got to tow you, it's the law, I got to take you. No, it isn't. Don't trust them. If in doubt, call us. Call the non-emergency number and we'll let you know.
Yeah. Linda qualifies. It's not that no one here wants to answer. It's that no one in Alberta wants to answer.
There we go.
So now that's why you come to Ontario. We answer stuff. Someone wanted to know, what are the rules in regards to the license for travelers to operate a vehicle in Ontario? So I think you're talking about people who are licensed in other countries, in other jurisdictions, and they come to visit Ontario or come to visit Canada. What can they do? And this is where it depends. You need to have a license and possibly a, what is it called? International driving permit that would allow you to operate a vehicle here while you're visiting. And visiting is a very funny thing. It means you didn't move here, you're a visitor. So just to clarify, because a lot of people say, I'm visiting for 5 years while working and going to school. That doesn't cut it. So if you have a license that's accepted, you can go to TrafficCop.ca. I've got a link there for people who are visiting and travel or moving to Ontario or to Canada. It actually has a subdirectory for all the provinces. It'll explain it to you right there. Some places we do not honor the driver's license from. Others are good. Others are good only with an international driving permit issued by your home country.
Right, and it's not an international driving license. It doesn't allow you to drive over here. You must have a valid license from the jurisdiction that you're coming from, and it must be accepted over here. So whoever issues your international driving permit, which is really just a translation card so that we can actually see what is on your proper license, they will know if you're allowed to, if there's a reciprocal agreement allowing you to operate here.
Yes.
So they're the best place to know. Some countries will, some countries won't.
It is not, and it really is good to know. You don't want to get charged if you're operating under false pretenses or with bad information.
Right.
Because that's driving unlicensed. That's not a good thing. Newfie in the 6 wants to know, or says, I've noticed a huge increase in distracted driving, especially since the pandemic, highways and city. I think it's just been a general increase since day one of smartphones and the adoption of the technology. People are addicted to them. They cannot put them down.
I know. And it'll only take a second, and I'll just look down real quick, and I won't hold it up so nobody can see it, and then smash.
I think it's even worse now that we're hiding it because we're trying to get away with something knowing it's illegal. When it was legal, or at least not specifically legislated, people were more open about it and had peripheral vision. Neither is good. It's even worse now. And you know what? This is where we need to get people to grow up a bit. Either take advantage of the voice prompts, which is still a distraction, or take this time for yourself. Meditate with your eyes open. Focus on driving. We are so rushing. We are rush all the time. We're so plugged in. People need some time to themselves mentally. It's a great time when you're driving. Put away the phone. Power it down. Set an automatic. There are features on the iPhone that once it's in the car and it knows you're in a car, it ignores all things if you turn the feature on. It's a great feature.
My new cell phone does that as well. If it knows I'm on a motorcycle, or if I'm on a snowmobile, or if I'm in a car, or I'm at home, it can do different things, set different things.
It's cool stuff. Corey says, I have to get back to work. Thanks for answering all my questions. Have a great Monday, guys. It's time for us to wrap up, too.
Yes.
Jen has a question. At the Colossus Drive and Highway 7 intersection, there's a digital no right turn sign. If the sign is off, does that mean that right turns are allowed even if the red light is red, provided it's safe? Yes, it's a conditional no right on red. I've seen that. I've gone to that particular location. I actually worked at that Costco when it was a Price Club on the north side of the street when I was a kid. I was 17.
That was one of the original ones.
Yes, it was Price Club, not Costco. And then they moved south. So I'm very familiar with that location.
Where haven't you worked?
Everywhere. I've
You
worked
have?
everywhere. I've done everything. It just makes me a better cop. So the stories I can tell, let me tell you. Anyway, the deal is, though, that it is a conditional no right turn, and we see different technologies used in different areas. York Region uses LED signs. Toronto has some folding signs that have articulated like servos that turn it on and off. But yeah, if that's lit, you can't make a right turn. If it's not lit, you can. After making a complete stop, then when it's safe, make the right turn.
Right.
Such good stuff. Linda says, thank you again for all the answers to the question. Not sure if it's cold there, but sorry, let me actually read verbatim what's being said.
This morning.
Not sure if it's as cold as it is here, so stay away. It is freezing. I put a hat and gloves on for the very first time this season. So I was still cold.
So for this Christmas season, I got a heated jacket.
Yes, you did.
I was liking it this morning.
He glows. Literally.
All right, folks, I have to run.
And I have to press this song button. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m., so tune in and follow us everywhere, TrafficCop.ca.
Take care.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed. And watch your driving, don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get free. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
So nobody cares for you is the user account who wants to know about public servants on average not having good foundation on constitutional rights. They're talking about First Amendment auditors getting a large loss. You're talking about American stuff. We're in Canada. Yeah. No, we understand Canadian law. But a lot of people don't understand that we're not in Canada. Sorry, that we're not in the United States, that we are in Canada. So I wasn't ignoring Twitch. We do get your messages. You don't have to switch to YouTube because they said, we're ignoring Twitch chat. Got it. I'll head to YouTube next time. You don't need it. Twitch works. All right, that's it. I'm out of here. Have a great day. And did I have a dad joke? Does anyone have a dad joke? Akela Draconis did not come in with a dad joke, so we have no dad jokes today. I'll have to be better prepared tomorrow. Anyway, have a great day. Drive safe, drive sober, park legally, and smile because it looks good on you. Yeah, I guess see you tomorrow.